Okay. Uh, Hello, all. I have a feeling I've seen a few of you earlier already today. So, again, you are stuck with me talking for a minute or two. Um, Michael Bruntz, Senior Brand Manager at Peachy Wines, and I have the good fortune of getting to deal with Cesari on a regular basis. And unfortunately for them, they are stuck with me. But today, you will have Antonella Riccio, who is the U.S. brand ambassador from the winery, here to give you a quick background of the history of the winery, some of the interesting aspects of it, and just sort of some of the overall cool things that make the Valpolicella and Amarone process what it is and the uniqueness of it all. So with that being said, I'll stop talking, and Antonella, you can take it away.
Oh, thank you, Mais. Thank you, Mike, and hi to everyone. So I know it's a crazy time for all of us, but I promise I will try to do my best to take all of you into Valpolicella area in these 30 minutes. This is for me an honor because Cesari represents an excellence in winemaking all around the world. And this is my second year with them, and I would like to be able to give a piece of my passion to all of you. So, but let's go through. We have chosen this first message to give the attention to the time. Time in our winemaking is a value for different regions. First of all, time is one of the most important characteristics of the Valpolicella area winemaking. As all of you knows, aging is the heart of the winemaking in Valpolicella area, and thanks to the time, our wines becomes better and better year after year. But time is also for us history. Cesari is an historical winery, so is working in this field since so many years, trying to bring the wines from Veneto region all around the world. And third, time is something that as in particular wines from Valpolicella area, because they are good for aging. So Valpolicella wines can be drunk many years after their winemaking. Okay, a piece of our common history. Cesari, with the first vintage of Amarone Classico, reached your market in 1973, and the vintage was 1971. I will also to underline that also the Peachy works and our partnership is a part of our success in your market. And you as a market for us is one of the most important. I know you guys like geography, so let me show you my beautiful country. And in particular, let me show you where we are located. I know that it seems so small, but it's big in the reality. North of Italy, you can see in the middle the Lake of Garda. In the Lake of Garda is part of the climate that influence the wines from our land, the Valpolicella area. As you can see here, the weather in Valpolicella is influenced by three different elements. Adriatic Sea from the south. From here, okay, from the east, sorry. And the Dolomites Mountain from the north. So we are in this. You can see my movement on the laptop, I hope so. And for sure, Lake of Garda from the west. The Valpolicella area actually is pretty bigger than Valpolicella Classica. That is what you are used to listen, like the name of the Valpolicella, but actually Valpolicella area is a little bit bigger than the Valpolicella Classica, as because the Valpolicella Classica is the area that is considered most vocated for our indigenous grape. So for Corvina, Corvinone, Rondinella, all the grapes from Valpolicella area. Classic is a legal mention, and again, it refers to an area that is considered more vocated for that grape, and especially also older than the other. So this is an area in which since from the beginning that type of grape are cultivated. In particular, five areas: Sant'Ambrogio, San Pietro in Cariano, Fumane, Marano, and Agrar. If you can see me, my underline on the map, can you see, Mike, me moving on the map? Okay, thank you guys, sorry.
No problem.
Okay, so the Valpolicella Classica is this area, and you can see most of the name of the village that I have already mentioned. There is another element, soil, calcareous, clay, mixed with basalt. But why I'm doing this speech beginning with the geography? Because by the name of our wines, and because of our law, climate and everything this is around the nature around the wines is important for us. And for example, also the name of the grapes are names of birds. Corvina means crow, Rondinella means small swallow. So everything is strictly connected with our nature. If I'm running too fast, just stop me. Okay, so let's go inside Cesari Vineyards. Cesari Vineyards are all located in the Classic area. 3 single vineyards: Gemma, Bosco, and Busan, and a new estate in San Ciriaco, as you can see over there. This is an experimental vineyard because we are studying over there how it's on the top of the hill. It's 400 meters up to the level of the sea. And we are seeing how the grapes are reaction in that type of a situation. So the altitude that is a little bit different between the common situation in all the Valpolicella area. Okay, so in total 100 hectares of vineyard. Okay, our background. As I told you at the beginning, the Cesari, the time, so considering time like history, for us is another point of value. We were founded in 1936, and from there, Cesari Winery became literally like an ambassador of wines from Valpolicella area. And it's like, it has always as seen like the perfect quality wine mix, reflecting the terroir and the results of the method of the vinification of the wines that is unique in Valpolicella. We are now in 52 countries all around the world, and this is what we would like to express with this message is that we are growing, and our international our care for the international customers is growing with us. Here you can find some place that has recognized as like one of the top producers of the Valpolicella region. And you can see Opera Wine, for example. And as you know, a lot of awards every year for every vintage and for different labels regularly arrived from all the country and from USA too. So, Cavaillon Veronese. Okay, aging and bottling of Amarone and Ripasso. Cavaillon Veronese is dedicated to these two very important steps of the winemaking. Most of you have seen Cavaillon Veronese. This is a very, it is a very big area, and inside you will find all the different type of barrels that we use for the winemaking, and especially barrique from French oak and tonneau from French oak too, barrels from Slavonian oak. So this is we use, but most of you know that we use a mix of woods to create our wines. We are very proud to show how our action are connected with the arts and the humanity. So the winery is a permanent home for some arts exhibitions and photo gallery that are inspired from by the project of Gemma. The project began 2 years ago, and this is a picture from last year. Okay, Fumane. Fumane is our new, new project, yes, because we are restyling it. This is another place in the heart of Valpolicella Classica, and this picture shows you a part of the work that is inside of Fumane. What we are doing in Fumane now is to create a controlled ambient for the humidity and the temperature. To control these two elements is part of the work of the winemaker. In fact, these two elements are very important for the drying process, that is another part of the winemaking, the first part. Why is so important to control them in this, especially in these years? Because we are seeing that the climate and in general the condition change so fast. That means that we needed to have the power to control that element, to be sure to have the quality that has always characterized our wines. Okay, we are explaining here when the weather is dry, large doors and windows can be opened to ventilate the space. If the weather outside is too humid, the windows can be closed and the grapes dried with the aid of fans. There are no other words to explain this method in a better way. So, control humidity and temperature. Okay, in general, we are here, we have dedicated this part to the Amarone grapes. As I told you before, two main grapes are the grapes for the Amarone, Corvina and Rondinella. Corvina, body and power. Rondinella, color and aroma. The Amarone is a blend in which can be used other indigenous grapes. These other indigenous grapes are smaller, considering and comparing them with the Corvina and the Rondinella. So the percent of the law that is permitted by the law is in the maximum 25% of this small indigenous grape. And in particular, Cesari use the Negara and the Rossignola. So, as you can see, I hope, I'm not sure you are able to see. Okay, Rossignola and Negrara, both our Ripasso Mara and our Amarone Classico has the 5% of these two indigenous small grapes, Rossignola and Negara. As you can see, the most of the biggest percent is from Corvina, and the other big percent is from Rondinella, that are exactly the same in both of the wines. So this part it can be changed from the winemaker. Okay, so how Amarone is produced? I know that most of you are sellers from many years. So again, the drying process is the first part of the winemaking Amarone. The drying process is the selection. The process actually begins in the vineyard. The selection of the bunches for doing Amarone is very restricted. So first of all, the first work is in the vineyard. Only the perfect bunches of the grapes are used for doing Amarone. And again, we usually only the 40%, depending from the vintage, depending from a lot of condition, but usually the 40% of the bunches are used inside of a vineyard are used for the Amarone wines. So after the selection, we go inside the cellars that we call fruttai, and there the drying process begins. in the Amarone winemaking, the drying process is close to 3-4 months. The harvest is from the middle of September to the middle of October. So we are arriving at the end of January to see the result of the drying process. And the result is that the grapes lose their weight until the 45%, thanks to the drying process. That means that alcohol and sugar are very, very concentrated inside the juice. That is the result of this process. And that the fermentation is the second step. It's quite long, so 40-45 days. And yet there is, of course, the aging moment. Okay, Amarone. I don't know if just some words more. I don't know if you know that the Amarone is the name literally means the great bitter, and this is one of the most amazing historical part of the winemaking, because the origin of the name is because it's supposed that the Amarone was a sweet wine. So the legend tells us that the winemaker left the Valpolicella juice and inside the barrels for too long, and he was waiting for a sweet wine, but he received not a sweet wine, but the Amarone. So another thing that we usually say about the Amarone wine in general is that it's perfect for meditation. Why? Because there are so many flavors that make the tasting alone of this wine a perfect experience of relax and emotion. So, and this is another things that we are proud. We are always proud to tell. Okay, guys, I need just a little bit of water, and then. Ok, ripasso, repass, pass twice. Why? The Valpolicella juice united with the Amarone skin. To understand what it does mean in the reality, we have to go back to the selection, you know, that I have already spoken about before. So this is a strict selection of the bunches for the Amarone wine. We take all the other bunches from the vineyard that we use to do the Valpolicella, and we repass the juice from that grapes to the skin of the Amarone. That means that when the process of the separation of the skin from the juice, we don't throw away the skin of the Amarone, but we use them for repassing the Valpolicella juice. To have a wine that is called exactly the baby Amarone for this reason, because in your nose you will actually I like to say that the wine will scream I'm an Amarone, but in the mouth, the test is like saying, no guys, I'm a Valpolicella. So a perfect mix between these two characteristics, considering that the body of the Amarone wine is one of the biggest in the world. Okay, Mara, our Valpolicella Ripasso, Amarone Classico. Okay, just let me back. Another mention, you can see on the label the superiore, superior. Superior is another legal mention here in Italy. That means that the wine is made with a % of alcohol a little bit superior respect the minimum provided by the law. And in the case of the Valpolicella Ripasso, this point is 12.5. Classic, you know now, and also maybe before my speech, the meaning of classic mention. Here we have another one. So Reserva. Reserva is referring to the time of aging. So literally speaking, we have in these three wines, three different legal mentions, so superior in the Mara, Classico in Amarone della Valpolicella, and for sure Classico and Reserva in Busan. As you can see here, the time of aging is 36 months. That means that is aged much more. That is, this number is referring in particular to this type of wine, because the rule in general is the same, but the numbers of the years change with the denomination. So the rules that you find for the Amarone Reserva mention are not the same, for example, for other type of wines. But the Reserva is always referred to the time of aging. Here, our Bosco, our single vineyard. Gemma, our gem. Because for us, Gemma, okay, Gemma means gem, so precious jewels. Corvina Veronese 100%. Giving the name, this name to this wine is a choice of a way to communicate what does it mean, the Corvina Veronese for us, and in generally for the Valpolicella area. As I told you before, Amarone, Ripasso, they are all blend. Here we want to give the Corvina the place where to express her better way to be. So 100% Corvina for us means 100% Valpolicella area and 100% Cesari. This is a wine that make us very proud, because it's a success literally around the world. And also the concept of the purity, for example, is a concept that have inspired the arts shows about the arts that we were speaking about before last year. So the contest was on the purity conception. Our Centofilari, so 100 rows. Another single vineyard. We are located in the south. Lugana is an area located in the south of the Lake of Garda. And you can see here, this Turbiana is the grape. Actually, Turbiana is a Trebbiano grape. But we discovered that the grape of Trebbiano cultivated in the south area of Lake of Garda has characteristics so unique that it was good to give to that grape its own name, so Turbiana. And here 95% of Turbiana and 5% of Chardonnay. What we are proud to say, and this is something that happened also last week with Mike, because there was a girl that was testing the Centofilari from 2015. And we were discussing how, you know, it's a white wine, so we are all expecting that maybe it can be, yes, it has to be drunk quickly. And this is not what we can say for the Centofilari and the Lugana wines in particular, because a single vineyard in which we are doing a selection of the bunches, exactly like we are doing in Valpolicella and in the other single vineyard for the Amarone wines. And the particular organoleptic characteristic of the Turbiana explained us in this year the potential of aging of this wine. So the white Centofilari can be drunk also 4 or 5 years after bottling. And this is a very particular characteristic, considering we are speaking about a white wine. And it's also part of the international characteristic that we are trying to do to our wines. Always respecting, of course, the tradition of the winemaking, both in Valpolicella and in Lugana. And thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
No.
Thank you. That was terrific.
Thank you.
A quick crash course through the beautiful Verona. So I'm going to open it up to questions now. If anybody would like to ask a question live, feel free to raise your hand in the participants tab, and I can unmute you. If not, please type in a question into the chat, and we can. I will have Antonella ask them for you. Oh, here's a good question. Antonella, so for the Gemma, the question is, why is it IGT and not a DOC or a DOCG?
Okay. IGT in general, okay, I can see over there. IGT in general is a legal mention that we use for doing wine without rules. Amarone, Ripasso, Valpolicella they have a very, very long, we call it disciplinare, so a lot of rules that explain exactly in every single step how the wine has to be done. So IGT is also a way to give to other type of wine the importance that they have, because IGT is not referred to the quality of the wines. So it doesn't mean that is you will find less quality considering the DOC or the DOCG, but just that that wine is made without following the rules of the DOC or DOCG. This is a very good thing in a country like Italy, that is full of rules in general, and also in the winemaking, because it's a way for the winemaker to express their fantasy in the winemaking, and is unbelievable. But 100% Corvina, so to have a wine made 100% by the Corvina Veronese is an IGT wine.
Very good.
It was good. I don't know who did the question, but
it was Jay Stratford, whoever.
Okay, Jay Stratford. Okay, it's was it good, the answer? Okay, thank you.
He's nodding. A question from Scott McDonald. He actually wants to know if Cesari still has any Molinara planted, or if they're just solely using the Negrara and the Rossignol now.
No, neither Cesari, neither other wineries. In 2010, something regarding the Molinara changed in our rules. And Molinara is not used anymore by anyone in the Amarone blend. The reason why is because time is passing, we are always studying, and nature is growing. And we discovered here in Italy that there was other type of indigenous grape that qualitative speaking were growing better than the Molinara. So for the Amarone and Ripasso in general, was better to use other indigenous grape. So no winemakers are using Molinara anymore since 2010.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yes, it's a question of organoleptic characteristic of the grape. So how they are growing and modifying during the time.
Great. George has a question for you. He wants to know what makes the Busan vineyard so special.
Thank you, George. Okay, so the Busan vineyard so special. Location and the characteristic of the climate, but this is also a particular condition of the soil in that vineyard. The Busan is the Busan wine shows us how it's possible to make the same Amarone, the same wine in a very different ways, thanks to the grape, the combination. What I want to say is that it's a combination of different characteristics. That means soil, climate, position, and the result is a wine that is characterized by the softness and the lady face of the Amarone field.
Okay, a question from Jay Venezia. Do you still have a lot of mixed planting vineyards to Rondinella and Corvina / Corvignone?
Mike, can you repeat the question?
Which is the question? If the vineyards are still mixed planting with Rondinella and Corvina, or are they separate, or are you planting them together? I think is what Jay is asking. Okay, no, they are in the same. They are in the same vineyard. When we are speaking about the single vineyard, means that all the grapes, for example, in Busan, in Bosco, all the grapes used to make that wine come from that piece of land. So yes, all the type of the different grapes are cultivated in the same vineyard. So if it was the question, yes, they are all cultivated in the same area and vineyard in this particular case. I think unless anybody has any other questions, I think that's it. I'll give it another minute. While we're waiting for that, I just wanted to first say, Antonella, thank you very much. That was terrific.
No, thank you, Mike. Thank you, all of you. I was full of emotion for this my first speech. So
Yeah,
just let me
125
close
people,
with
too.
yes, just let me close with a little bit of humanity inside this to all of you. My speech was for sure very, very general. Most of the things that you have heard from me tonight are things that I'm pretty sure you have already listened in this year. And what I try to do is to take the information and make them as clear as I can. Because sometimes, especially when we are speaking about Italian wines, the rules are easy in theory and complicated if you are exactly to visualize them. So the process, exactly, the grapes, the names, they are a lot. So my goal for this first time was just to refresh all of you some general rules about the wines from and Lugana. People are calling me and Lugana, and I hope there will be very soon the choice to do another meeting all together and maybe focus on specific topic like Lugana, for example. So there are a lot of things that we can talk about together about every single labels in Cesari. But for this time, I think it's okay like this.
There's actually one other quick question if you want.
Yes, I'm here for you.
MM is the person who sent this. Do you vinify the Rondinella and the Corvina together, or is it separate?
Do you?
Vinify the Rondinella and the Corvina together.
Vinify together. Yeah. Together, yes. Because the wine, when we move from the field, from the vineyard to the cellar, so to the frutai, to the winemaking process, the human part of the winemaking process, we work them together.
Okay. All right. Well, again, Antonella, thank you so much for taking the time today. I know it's late your time, so you're probably ready for dinner, but I just wanted to say thank you again, and thank you to you all for taking the time to take a virtual stroll through the Verona. And there was a mention here of some sort of radicchio lasagna that they want when they go back. So I guess you'll have to have that ready for us, Antonella, when we come to visit again.
So thank you, all of you, and I hope to see you soon.
All right. Thank you again. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Bye. Bye.